All right, we got day 222 building a startup and documenting the entire process. So just dropped Stan off at the airport. We had a solid in-person week sesh though, and this weekend we actually had a little bit of a revelation, I think. So let's talk about it. So in previous versions, I had been talking about how we wanted to prioritize the manager experience moving forward, which is still what we're aiming to do. So this doesn't really change that strategy, but we kind of had a little bit of a revelation on the artist version this weekend. So basically, what we want to accomplish is try to help artists stay accountable and consistent and provide guidance to them and help them think more about the long term. But how we had been going about that is kind of like your, I guess, kind of traditional to-do list project management type tool with obviously some things that were differentiators with like guidance, some gamification, stuff like that. But this weekend we were just kind of thinking about it of kind of like, is it possible, like we've kind of been so set on that one way to solve this, but could we kind of think differently and figure out just like completely flip things on its head about different ways we could go about to solve what we're aiming to solve for. And in addition to that, so one of the things I've been most excited about at the start of this whole thing is this idea of kind of like documenting your journey. I mean, that's literally what I'm doing here as like kind of the use case. But I just think it would be so interesting to be able to see like your favorite artist, like for me, John Summit, like what was he doing on day like 25 of his artist journey? Like what was he focusing on? What was his mental like? A lot of these artists have taken so long to get to where they are. And so kind of getting a window into that process granularly, I think would be so interesting, but just doesn't exist right now. So the idea of kind of like documenting your story from day one, and then potentially as a creator, being able to kind of own that or monetize that, be able to kind of package that for people like upcoming artists or entrepreneurs who want to get a sense of, this builder's entire journey. So I was talking with a friend recently who kind of reinvigorated that idea of kind of documenting your story and how cool of an angle that can be. So all that is to be said, we kind of combine those two ways of thinking on Saturday to just think about this problem, I guess, with an entirely new lens of a solution. And another thing is just in terms of usage on the artist version, it's pretty low compared to the total amount of artists we have on. And so what we're currently doing is not working. And so one of the, potential pieces of feedback we've gotten since this MVP's been out in the world is just that like people don't really want to deal with another project management tool, something that's complex. I feel like, we might have just kind of overdone it, which is the value of getting an MVP out there and putting it out in the world and seeing what people think, et cetera. And so with that lens, we're thinking, how can we make this as simple as possible? And so an app I actually use every day is Be Real. It's like something about it, the fact that it takes almost no time to take the picture, just notification, take the picture. And then also sometimes I love going back into the past photos and stuff like that. But yeah, just the fact of how simple it is, I think is super interesting. And so with that, this new version actually is kind of Be Real-esque. And ideally just like super simple. There's just like one question every day. And then there's kind of some social accountability too, just like incredibly simple. But we worked on it Sunday, and today I was working on it as well. And then I need to finish it up tomorrow. I think I can totally finish up tomorrow because it's so simple this time. And then I asked a user today what she thought about it, the one who's using our current version, the most. And she was super into it. And the way she's currently using the current version, she could actually use with this new thing, even though it's like 1/20th the size. So ideally, yeah, just like is truly just directly at the core value and not kind of overcomplicating things. So I think what we're going to do is maybe try to actually launch it as like not launch, like just test flight, like super quick iOS build or whatever. It's just almost like a new app because I am still using the original version as my own project manager. So just selfishly, I don't want to just like completely change apps. And so now it almost feels like day to day is basically becoming like a product studio for just trying different things to help the creator economy, which honestly, like I'm not that opposed to as kind of a direction just because I actually love building in Bubble. And there are, I don't know, like these two use cases are kind of different, like the manager version and this like newer thing. And so I do think there's merit in trying out both. So we'll see. But yeah, in terms of the manager version that we were talking about before as priority, right now we're just kind of going to be in market research mode. So over the weekend, we put together like a kind of big CRM of just doing some sourcing on potential managers we can hit up. And so I have a few conversations this week. And then Also going to start reaching out to people next week. And honestly, in those conversations, I think it's going to be less about like, hey, look what we built, and more about just like trying to understand people's processes, what tools they're currently using, and just kind of approaching it like it's day one. So yeah, I guess big update overall. Yeah, feeling excited still about, yeah, we'll kind of try out this new artist version, just like tinkering it with it, and then we'll conduct market research on the manager side and just kind of go from there. Because at the end of the day, this product is definitely not at product market fit, and it feels like just continuing to bang our head against the wall with how it is right now isn't the move. It feels like we need to kind of change things up based on the feedback. So that's what we're doing. So we'll see how it goes. Overall, solid day following journey. I will catch y'all tomorrow.